Okay.
It's recorded.
Hi, you're again with Volleyball Explained Podcast, and our edition about the Italian League. We are this time in a full roster with Ronnie, Nicola, and me, Bogdan, of course. And today we are going to start with discussing what happened in the Italian League in the last 4 rounds. The last time we reached the 7th, and now we are going to have the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th round. Very shortly, in a very short period of time, we're going to have all teams played 12 matches. So we are going to have a little bit of a better picture of what we had until now and what we can have in the future. But let's start with the results. In the 8th round, the most interesting matches in the round, but also probably in the whole league so far, was between the teams of Perugia and Modena. Modena beat Perugia as a guest 3-2, and actually Perugia suffered their first and only defeat from the beginning of the league. LUBE beat Ravenna 3-0. Monza lost to one of the surprises of the championship so far, Padova 2-3 as a host. Milano was beaten by Cisterna 2-3 in the longest match in the history of the Italian league since the rally point system was introduced more than 20 years ago. Verona beat Vibo back then for their second win. Taranto was beaten by Trento in the team match 1-3. In the 9th round, another full round, and what I mean you're understanding in several seconds, but Vibo lost to Monza 2-3, Piacenza Taranto 3-0, Modena Verona 3-0, Ravenna Milano 2-3, Padova Perugia 1-3, another win for Perugia, and Cisterna LUBE 0-3, LUBE and the favorite in this match. The other two rounds were not full because of the fact that LUBE and Trento are playing in the Club Pro Championship, and they played these matches from these rounds a little bit earlier in the season. So without LUBE and Trento, we had Perugia Vibo 3-0, Milano Padova 3-1, Verona Ravenna 3-1, Cisterna Modena 2-3, and that's all for the 10th round. And in the 11th round, Piacenza was beaten by Perugia 0-3, a little bit disappointing, or probably not just a little bit. Modena Milano 3-0, Padova Verona 3-0, Taranto Cisterna 3-1. And with this, let's go to the ranking after 11 rounds. Actually, only two teams have played 11 matches. These are the teams of LUBE and Ravenna, and they're going to rest in the last 2 rounds because the championship is of 13 teams this season. And all other teams have 10 matches played. Perugia 28 points and a match less. LUBE 28, Trento 22, Modena 19 after the bad start, Monza 18, Piacenza 17, Milano 15, Padova 14, Cisterna 10, Taranto 10, Verona 8, Vibo 7, and Ravenna 2 points, the only team without a victory so far. Let's start with the podcast with going through the ranking and quickly to mention some words about the teams and probably more about other teams which played more matches. Let's start with Perugia. Perugia is for me a little bit under question, but what do you think there? They won 9 out of 10 matches, but the only match which was problematic for them, they lost it.
Well, if you remember last time we recorded, we told that the match against Modena was probably one of the toughest that Perugia will had in the past, maybe since the beginning of the season, because I don't consider the Super Cup as a reliable test for any team. It was a strange game, actually, the one against Modena. They were trailing 2-0, then they get even, Then they were trailing the tiebreak, get up with the fantastic serving series from Leon, and then they eventually lost 17-15 in the fifth. So it was a fight, but if I was a Perugia fan, I wouldn't be that disappointed or worried about the loss, because Modena is finally clicking in and playing at a level we were all expecting them playing at the beginning of the season. And I think that the next game, the one who hasn't been played yet, the one against LUBE, will be the decider of let's say at least the first round of the league, because the winner takes it all in that case, and they will take the first place, which arguably get you a easier path on the Coppa Italia. And LUBE will be back from the World Championship probably with the most likely with the title, so they will also have this emotional boost. But for Perugia, I think that they're gonna cruise against, as Ronnie said in our chat, against any other opponent. So they just have to focus on those matches to close the regular season in the first place. That was basically what we all agreed about at the beginning of the season.
Yes, we live in times that not many teams can afford to have a good squad like Perugia have. You know, and not only in Italy, in Russia, you only have, in my opinion, Zenit Kazan, maybe St. Petersburg. In Poland, only say Chabreski Wigel and Saxa. And well, Italy is the country with most, let's say, super squad, if you want to put it in that way. And Perugia is doing what it has to be done with this team. You know, after Heinen departure from the coach seat, Gerbit was underlined after, of course, the Super Cup result. But now you see that this Perugia is winning everything. Yes, they lost versus Modena, but it was a game that you could lose looking to the results, you know, because it went to a tie break, and you can win or lose a tie break. It's like the penalty kick. If we talk about football, you know, and look at the tie break score, 15-17. It was easily a game that Perugia should have won if the luck of Ngape, of course, will have to turn the side to Perugia. But let's see that what happened in 9 days when LUBE come back from Brazil. I believe it's gonna be a good match. I don't think LUBE is the favorite here, because you know they have to make the travel or go back to Italy, and that will affect them no matter what. But I think I want to see entertain a match. You know, not a 3-0 like Perugia is doing to everyone, even the hopeless Piacenza team that started very well and now are in the 6th or 7th position, struggling. And this day it came out that 7 members of the team have tested positive to COVID. Now they have to reschedule the game with Verona. Yes,
yeah,
that is the game. Well, not good news for Piacenza. But in speaking about that match, Nicola, if you look the numbers, it wasn't a good technical match per se. You know, the second set was 25-12 for Modena. For at some point was a shit show. Like let's put it that way, a clown fiesta. You know, you didn't know what's gonna happen, and then Perugia strike back and give the answer 25-15 and 25-22. So it was far to be a, let's say, good, exciting match where errors were for both teams, and in the end, I think people enjoy more the tie break than the the whole match.
Yeah, definitely.
If I ask you, do you see the match, Nicola? Maybe Nicola will say, I only watched the tie break and since really entertainment. But if you look, the entire match was boring, because when a team was winning a set, the other team was like 5-6 points behind. So and that's how I see it.
By the way, I watched some kind of highlights from the match, and I was very impressed by the blocking of both teams when they won their respective sets. And in the tiebreak, my impression was that Perugia was relying a little bit too much on Leon. Probably that's normal, but it didn't work out. Even though he hit, I believe, 2 aces at the end, and another very hard serve, which was reflected by Salvatore Rossini. But I would suggest to talk about LUBE and Trento when we talk about the Club Pro Championship a little bit later, and now talk about Modena, because Modena is the only team with 4 out of 4 wins of those 4 rounds. What do you believe is actually what changed Modena since the beginning? Because they lost to Monza, they lost to LUBE as well. Why do you think they're advancing so hard?
I mean, come on. You have this squad, and the only thing you expect to see is they winning, And even with that, I will say that match, that W in that match was a little bit of luck, And from that match, every rival that they meet is below their level.
Yeah.
Talking about players and staff and experience, but hey, they have to battle harder with Cisterna. What Cisterna? Yes, I think it was.
They were leading 2-0, I believe, Cisterna.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So you see that sometimes they struggle, especially when they have to play outside Modena, and this is a very difficult thing for them. And well, if they keep to losing points there and point that, it will be extremely difficult to reach even third place. So for me, it's out of the question the top 2, because I think at this point everyone knows that LUBE and Perugia will end fighting for the first place. But like you said before, this could be a very interesting matchup towards the Coppa Italia, because I think even if Trentino is not so well right now, they can easily win the 2 match that they have to play and end easily in the 3rd spot. And now you have a matchup between Perugia and Modena in the hypothetical semi-final of Coppa Italia. Yes, I don't know if Perugia wants to win that game against LUBE, because now you will see the mind games and strategies, and it's not so bad to Perugia lose a game on purpose, because they have the other game in the second round of the league. But it's hard to have to face in the semi-final Modena in the current shape. They are almost 3rd place, almost, not yet. But yes, I think for LUBE, if they lose that match versus Perugia, is not the end of the world, So looking things straight up, I think I prefer to play the semifinal of Coppa Italia, of course, if they reach it, with Trento than Modena. That's how I see it. I don't know, Nicola, if you have something to add.
Yeah, about Modena, their improvement is under everybody's eyes. You said it right. They played against rivals that were below their level, but we can't deny that they keep growing. I mean, for example, Abdelaziz, after a very slow start from the service line in this season, regained his old finesse, and lately is being more impressive from the service line, which helps a lot. The blocking system Bogdan was also talking about, and especially helped also Daniele Mazzone to grow on blocking in the past 4 games. Is actually doing a very good job. And if we just look at the number in Modena in the last 3 games of regular season, because I don't take in account the 2 games in the CEV Cup against some Romanian team, Zalau, they're not a reliable test. Just looking at the regular season, they were attacking above 50% and receiving around 30 every game. So if you have those numbers with Bruno, you could arm every one of your attackers. And still, I think Leal is a little bit offset, but he's gaining his shape back, and it will be. I think that Modena at the end will end in the 3rd place because Trento will probably fight for the 4th with Piacenza. So Modena is exactly where they wanted to be. I expected them to be a little bit closer of the top 2 teams, but as you said, if you lost 1 point there and 1 point there, it's pretty difficult, especially because LUBE and Perugia are not taking prisoners, like we said.
LUBE doesn't lose a set since that match with Modena that ended 3-1 in Eurosole Forum. All of those rest match after that one have ended 3-0, which is impressive, taking into account that they have faced teams like Monza, teams like Milano, and Valentia, which maybe is not the best example, but when you face any of those teams in their home, it becomes something that you can worry about losing a set maybe. But even with that taken into account, and on top of that, they have to play with Kovar because Wantorena and Saiser are not ready yet. Is hard, and it's impressive what they have accomplished after that dubious start in the league. So I think like you can agree, Nicola, that the best shape team right now is Perugia, of course, in terms of stars and players. They are not any started injured, maybe, and they also have Ole Plotinski in the bench. And the second one, of course, for me is LUBE Civitanova, and I'm not talking about the giant on the bench. No, I'm talking about that. Even with all those problems, Kovar has been really help in the resection line, and Simon, of course, is playing like he have 25 years again. We can see that this is gonna be another season that Simons will break with my hope, of course, all his numbers and records. And of course, Gabi Garcia is improving with every game. Still, he needs to play more, but not in LUBE Civitanova, because maybe the guy feels the pressure to carry on this big team, and maybe he can do it better, but because of the pressure that if you are in LUBE, you have to win it all. That lead him to make some silly mistakes. So yes, let's see what happened in the game of 19 of this month, Perugia versus Civitanova, and see what who will be the Christmas or winter champion in this area.
Yeah, okay. We mentioned that Piacenza has COVID problems, so I hope they are going to be fine with that very soon. Monza is before Piacenza in the ranking. They are fifth, only 1 point more, and they are a very interesting team, very sympathetic team. But they are winning matches. You can't expect them to win, but they are also losing matches you can expect them to win, like the match against the team of Padova. We have talked a lot about Monza in the previous podcast, so let's move on. What do you think about Milano? Is a very it's a little bit of a personality-less team for me at the moment. They are in the middle of the championship. They're not doing extremely well. They're doing just probably where you can expect them
to survive. They are surviving, nothing less. There are no expectations at this moment in Milano for any of both teams that city has, like Monza and Power Volley. I don't know if Nicola have something to say. I want to talk more about the fact of Piacenza being now so behind. Maybe it's because people have studied how his game are, and of course Brizard is not that how do I say it? It's not a new. Let's say he is not unknown anymore. So people have studied his game, studied his connection with Lagunsija, and of course the second line of this Piacenza team, as you mentioned it, Bogdan in the very first podcast, they don't know how to use his entire squad. They have Maxwell Holt, they have Tonche Stern in the bench, and they are always seems to struggle with the ruling of the Italian on court. So Nicola maybe have something different to say about it.
Well, I was thinking about Milano.
Yes, of course, Milano, Piacenza, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they also been pretty unlucky with the health of their players, because they're missing Patry in the past games, and Romano is coming out from an injury, so they have to rebuild the connection from the start with a new and young setter like Porro. And I don't know if you watch some of Milano games, but one of the things that meets the eyes is how tired or out of shape, call it as you want, was Ishikawa. Ishikawa is an incredible explosive player, and in the past 3 games it looked like he had, 10 kilos on his shoulder and moved slower than he has done in the past years. So I think that when Ishikawa gets his form back and when Patry is totally healthy, Milano will fight with Monza and Piacenza for an higher place. Right now, they're probably underperforming, but I think it's more a situational thing, in my opinion, than a structural thing like it could be in Vibo. Piacenza, Bernardi said something after the loss to Perugia. I don't know if he was joking or if he was serious, but a journalist asked him about the period of his team, and he said, I know what is not going well, but I'm not gonna tell you. So I don't know, it is said that just to cut off the interview because he wants to get away, or he answers like that, but he still hasn't figured out what is not, let's say, working. But so far they actually have played let's say, badly against the big teams and against Monza. So they're one of those, we call in Italy, I'm gonna translate, like coin toss team. You don't know what to expect from them until you see them playing, and probably also the guys who bet on them are pretty unsure about the outcome.
Yeah, the next one in the ranking is Padova. We talked a lot about Padova. They have 2 wins more now after the last 4 rounds against Monza as a guest and also against Verona as a host. But let's see how things will unfold later for them, because they're the biggest surprise for me. But still, they have a very nice quote with Boto, with the German pair setter opposite. Now they have also the next Japanese kid, Takahashi. So it's going to be interesting how they are going to implement to include him in the team. Cisterna and Taranto have 10 points in the ranking, and they're the teams which stay a little bit under the water in terms of not being that visible for now, but they are doing well. Taranto is a team that has been promoted from Serie A to A2 the last season, and Cisterna is doing much better than the last season. And then we have Verona with having 2 more wins against Ravenna and against Vibo. And we actually reached Vibo Valentia. Vibo is probably the biggest disappointment, and now these actual events that happened this week, actually just yesterday, I believe, or the day before yesterday, Douglas de Souza left the building, as we know from it was a song, I believe, that Elvis just left the building. So Douglas de Souza just left Vibo. Why is the question? From what I read, he had not the best communication in the team. He had some problems with being in the team. But is this I don't know, sufficient cause, sufficient ground just to leave it without any notice?
There is so much things to cover, but first continue, Nicola.
No, I will just want to answer him. I think that what he did was unprofessional, just to be, just to be polite, because I mean, he came into the most demanding league on the planet. I don't know what he expected to do. He, except for the debut against Taranto, his numbers are lowering game after game. You can't blame Saita every time because he's playing bad. And right now, with the injury of Nishida, he needed to step up and to be a leader for that team, and instead decided to leave. And my question is, if Vibo was fighting for the 4th, 5th place like last year, instead of being on the bottom of the ranking, will he have left the team or would it have stayed? I mean, I don't like what he did. He could have all the reason he want. He could say whatever good words he want to say. I'm highly disappointed by the behavior, and I think it's pretty unprofessional.
Well, Nicola, as you say, the guy just took the plane, then talked to his manager and told, look, try to find out a best solution for me and the club. I don't want to be anymore. He later said that he communicated to the people of the staff and the management of the Valentia that he was gonna left. But when you suddenly are in Instagram, in the airport, people start to make assumptions, you know. And I think, like you, Nicola, he is not a good professional. When the boat is sink, the less you can do is try to finish the first half of the season and communicate that you will not gonna be returning, or look, I want to end my contract in a friendly form now that the first half is end. Of course, Italy is known to be a league that you don't have any type of Christmas break. You just go straight forward to the retorno phase. But you know, let the team to make some calls and try to figure it out if there are any oxide hitter available. You know, maybe, and you continue to play until the first round ends. So yes, of course, the attitude that he had later on in his Instagram and history or whatever was that he didn't care too much. He said things like life goes on and everyone everyone will continue to live as anything happen, you know. So he said he has a bad attitude. He thinks he's a sort of internet diva after what he did in the Tokyo Olympics. And you know, those numbers, because he reached already 1 million followers in Instagram, make you think that you are a superstar, you know. And well, I really think that he will not be hired anymore in Italy. That's for sure. He closed that
in
door.
Europe.
I will not say Europe, man, because you know nowadays teams have want to let's say they want someone with good social media presence. You know, maybe it's not
Okay.
about it. Maybe it's not about 100% about volleyball anymore. You know, like for example, what is going on with Nishida? Nishida came as the good opposite of Japan, a team that never accomplished anything. And what happened? 3, 4, 5 games, he injured. Now you say that Ishikawa is having problems, physical problems. Why is that? Because they are Japanese, man. It's all about genetics. You know it's true. These dudes are fast, are quick, they have the speed, the agility, but they don't have the endurance, and that's why Japan never wins a FIVB tournament, because they are very physically demanding in a short period of time, you know. And yes, of course, they can play good 1, 2, 3, 4 matches, excellent, but at the end they can with 15 matches in a row, you know. And that's for me the reason why Nishida injured. Sorry for him. I don't want to any player get an injury, even if I don't like the player, you know. But it's not Saita's fault either, you know, because with the same setter, Saita was the responsible to put Vibo last season in first place. But of course, he have a Buba, he have Bogdan,
Rosar,
the Falco, of course. So it's not only Saita, it's the quality of the players. Like for example, what is going on with Mauricio Borges? Why he is there? And he is the best for me. He's the worst, taking of course out the Ravenna guys. He's the worst contract in this for the worst foreigner player this season for any team. I mean, the guy has only 32, 33, but he plays like 15 years old player. And this is true by looking by his number. He only can receive, can spike, like Souza, Douglas Souza. He either can spike shit. They are good receiving, but you can win games only with reception. You need to have power. You need to have those power hitter players that at the end gave you the wins. So that's it.
Yeah.
Sorry for
Just several things from me. Firstly, what is the guarantee that he's not going to do? I mean, there was the same thing in his next team, and the communication will be bad, etc., etc.
He already told people that he will not going to play anymore this season.
That's fine. Secondly, even if you have some problems in terms of mental health, this is not the thing to do it. Okay, put the cards on the table. Say to the management, I can't. I just can't do it anymore. I believe we need to mutually agree to end this contract. I will stay several weeks, a month until you find another outside hitter to play. Okay, probably it's going to be hard, but okay, let's do it. And you just, by the way, this is not the only issue, because he's going to have financial issues with the team as well, depending on what is his contract and how you can terminate it. But I'm absolutely sure that this way of terminating the contract is not one of the ways described in the contract or in the Italian law for sure. This is for sure not going to be the case. So
the only thing
it's just unprofessional, and it's like a bit Gapet leaving Kuzbas, I believe, several
or Boyer
years ago.
Last season, Verona.
Yeah, same thing. So I don't think we need to comment even that further. It's a very clean as a whistle, actually. Well, very clean and clear event situation.
Let's put Agnatus here, and we'll go back for the second half of the podcast.
Yeah, with the favorite topic of Nicola.
Okay. Okay, we are back to the second half of our podcast. We were discussing about the Douglas Souza polemic end of contract with Vibo Valentia. I think Vibo, as you say, Bogdan, he was or is the worst team in terms of hiring and performance. I'm not sure that they will end with the relegation, but they have to do something in a short period of time to revert this situation before it gets irreversible. So do you think they will at this point be relegated? I have some hope for the future, but it's not so. Let's say it's not so bright. Of course.
Actually, you weren't here the last time, but we commented that with Nicola that actually Vibo Valentia is not a traditional Serie A top or even average team. They were in Serie A2. They were winning the cup in Serie A2. So they are not the team which is traditionally very high. So you can't expect them to be relegated. But how they are playing and how probably the atmosphere, especially also without Nishida, because this is a very big loss for them at the moment. Now they will be losing also Douglas. So I'm not sure how things will unfold, but still it's going to be very hard for them. And
one thing is for sure, they are not going to be in the playoff. That's a certain thing, unless something happened, which I doubt. This team is not prepared for even for. I will be very very disappointed is if they end in 8th place, because at this point every one of those guys want that the season ends. So with not further ado, we will continue to our schedule. What's the next topic, Bob?
The next topic is the favorite tournament of Nicola and of many people. It's Volleyball Nations League 2022. Again, FIVB, thank you, I love you. You have a new format, and this is totally unexpected. We didn't have any new formats in the last years. So I am very honest and very frank that I don't know what the format is. I only know that we have the 12 hosts of VNL, 6 hosts on the women's side, 6 hosts on the men's side, and the hosts are the following. The tournament, at least the first phase in the tournament in the men's side will be played between 7th of June and 10th of July. And week 1 will be played in Brasilia, Brazil, and in Ottawa, Canada. The second week will be played in Quezon City, the Philippines, and Sofia, Bulgaria. And week 3 will be played in Osaka, Japan, and Kemerovo, Russia. The women's side will be played between 31st of May and 3rd of July. So they will swap weeks. So one week will be played women's. The women's side will play 1 week, then 1 week the men's side. So we start with Shreveport, Bosye City, the USA, and Ankara, Turkey. The second week will be played in Brasilia, Brazil again. So this is the only city which will host both women's and men's matches. Pasao City, the Philippines, week 2 again for the women's side. Calgary, Canada, week 3, and Ufa, Russia. I'm very happy that Sofia will host one of the tournaments. In the men's side, still I'm not that. I'm a little bit skeptical on, do we need to spend that much money on a tournament we are not prepared to have a very good team. Another interesting point here is actually that Sofia is the only geographically European city that will host matches out of the 12th. Actually 11, because Brazil will host both. 11 places. of course, Russia and Turkey are part of Europe, but the cities are located in the Asian part of both countries. So Sofia will be the only European city to host VNL. So you're welcome to come to Sofia.
I believe they first went to Italy. Hey Italy, you know what? We are nah man. Dude, look, as for Japan, we don't receive any advertisement for Micheletto enough to give you money to organize some shit show event here. And sorry, but no. And another thing, you guys, where Philippines is. So I know we have Filipinos fans. Congratulations. You will watch volleyball of, let's say, first level, depending of which team decide to send there the countries. But come on, let's get real here. Not China for the first time. I don't see China here. Maybe they decide not to organize events till the situation with COVID advance more. Maybe in 2 or 3 years more. I don't know. Maybe in 2024 we will see again, or 2023 China again. Osaka, a good host. After all the advertising for free that FIB is doing to Japanese player, finally they see some results. They host a VNL weekend. But man, come on. Then you have USA in Shreveport City in Louisiana. As the only host, no host for the main team, and I totally understand because the main team are not so good anymore, at least in these times. And after the disappointment of the Chicago VNL finals, where everyone decided not to attend, only in the Polish games, it's clear that USA Volleyball, the governing body of USA, the governing body of the volleyball in USA, decided not to push more for host. As for Bulgaria, well, Luboganev is spending well all the money of the federation. At least you will see your team playing in your home soil. And not only your team, because this time will be 8 teams participating. So I don't know how we're gonna work the schedule. Is another situation there. 4 games maybe per day. I don't know who is gonna face who. And look, the only good thing, guys, is the traveling situation. You will travel less. You will play.
Probably that's one of the reasons for having only three places.
You will travel less. You will have more time to accommodate between host cities because one day you are playing Canada and then you are the next week of the VNL. It's not a week. It's 9 days till the next match. So maybe the next week you will have to play in Philippines and situations like that. But even with that, I think this is a total nonsense. The FIB is doing what they do best: money, money, money. And well, of course, the good news from the Cuban side is that Netherlands keep the China spot as one of the teams remain in this VNL from this year. And now Cuba will have to face probably Turkey, which is another topic, the European Golden League. Turkey, Ukraine, maybe Belgium for the VNL spot in 2023.
Yeah.
But
welcome that, Cuba.
I don't know, man. I have my doubts about it. It won't be easy, but I think we can fight with what we got. Jan, Lopez, Simon, and maybe some other dudes to step on. for a spot. It won't be easy, but it is what it is. But yes, Nicola, I will give you the reason this time. This is a completely commercial failure, and from my point of view, I only will see the finals to see who wins the thing, because the match between the regular phase, let's put it that way, will only work for those teams who has higher expectation at the end of the year at the World Championship. This will go to like a training tournament for those teams. I don't think Italy will go to everything every week. Maybe in Sofia, because it's close to it.
They're not playing in Sofia. Italy will play in Canada, then in the Philippines, and then in Siberia. I mean, that the less I say, the more likely is this channel to keep running, because
at least I can expect that they send the team that the coach is expecting to send to the World Championship in Kemerovo. I think it's Kemerovo, right? Yes.
Yeah.
But as for the other host cities,
I don't know.
As for the other host cities, I expect to see people like Recine, maybe Bottolo, Sbertoli, not the usual names, because I know Perugia, with good luck, will be playing the finals of the Champions League, and that will take into the end of the season in May. Everyone is tired, and etc. Let's see. But yeah.
Okay.
Very bad thing for the FIB, and of course the Philippine thing is another subject that doesn't have any explanation. Why do you give a host to a country that doesn't have any participation in women or men?
Expanding the geography of the game, they will answer.
Well, if you do that,
having a lot of fans there. By the way, they have. I don't have any explanation how they love volleyball that much. I mean, have you any explanation for that? Because also I believe in the page in Facebook, I believe that there are very many people from the Philippines. I will try to
those
check.
dudes grew up with Mireia Spikes and Cuba national team of women doing what they do in Manila, in Macau, and those areas of Asia. They even host the Grand Prix finals in 2000 when Cuba beat Russia 3-2, and after that they always hope that his national team do something, but they are too so small. But they have a really good league of women and men. But maybe it's for the money. Maybe they pay more than they usually to FIB to host whatever they. I really think Italy will host the final.
The Philippines are in fourth place in the statistics of the most followers if Volleyball Explained page in Facebook. So Mexico is leading, then Poland, then Nepal, and then the Philippines.
You have too many bots from there.
Yeah, that's probably the explanations. Well, Bulgaria is sixth place.
Next topic, if we have someone.
And probably we can end with the Club Pro Championship. The semifinals in the Club Pro Championship will be LUBE and Trento. They will start their match in just 30 minutes. So when this podcast is published, we are going to have probably at least we will know the finalists. it's very probable that actually we're going to publish this even after the final. It doesn't matter. And the other semi-final is between the two Brazilian teams, Sada Cruzeiro and Fundvik Natal.
I really think
Sada beat Trento 3-0.
No, but even with that, I really think Trento has a chance to win LUBE. I don't know why. I'm not making fun of Trentino team. I know they have some issues, especially with the reception line, which is very, very, very poor. That I don't know who was the person who hired that German player. Even and that's why you can hire people after you see it in an international game, because it's not the same. You don't prepare the same way as professional volleyball, you know?
Well, actually, for what I've heard, they were trying to close on Donani.
Sí.
Yes. But the financial problems of Trento this summer just dilated the time of the let's call all the agreements, and then they ended up with the libero who actually lost the place to Donani in Berlin, because Zenger was their libero before. There were not so many libero available on the market at the time they hired him.
And another issue with Trentino, of course, Kasiski is not young anymore. So you have to give them some slack. You know, you have to, okay, Kasiski, you play very poorly this game. Maybe the next one you will be better. I don't know. As for the usual guy, the usual suspect, Micheletto played excellent. I think if he ends, of course, with the third place, or maybe go to the final, he has the chance to be the MVP if they win the tournament, of course, or be at least the best outside hitter of the tournament, of the competition, to end out with a prize. And I think this tournament gives you some prize money, you know, maybe 5,000 in cash, but per position. But I really like what's doing Micheletto. Even the Brazilian commentators say that after Wilfredo Leon, Micheletto is the most younger, promising player that he has seen. And I think he said because the things Micheletto has won over his short period over his short career period, like U19, U21, European champion at that short age. And yes, but when I compare Leon to Micheletto, I don't see that dominant player that can change the entire match, even at the same age. No, when Leon was 20, 21 years, he was the dominant player in Kazan. Let's put it that way. Micheletto, okay, is a very, very good player, very promising. He can be the best in short time, maybe when Leon retired. But he can change the game around like Leon did, especially because Leon based his turnaround in his serve. I think Micheletto is a good server, but not so strong like Leon. He needs to hit the gym more and see if that lefty can do some damage, which he does already, but you know, more damage.
Yeah, I think they're two different players, definitely. I mean, Micheletto could receive. Leon, to have a reception, you have to hit him, basically. And at the other hand, Leon could attack with way more power, and the noise of the ball that you hear when Leon is attacking or serving is something incredible. I mean, I had the pleasure to watch him live in the past two years, and Micheletto is also higher, so it will probably be more a factor on blocking, but they will be complementary. I mean, if they just two play together in the same team, I think they were probably a kind of unbeatable team.
Like Matei and Juan Torena.
And Juan Torena in Trento, exactly. I was thinking about the same connection, more or less. But those two are even more powerful than the two. So you can't compare Leon to anyone, actually. I mean, it's one unique player.
And that's why I told him it's because the things he has won in the short period of time of his career. He has won 2 world championships in category ages. He won the European champion. He was MVP of several tournaments. He had a good run in the Olympics, even when they lose in the quarterfinals. And he's a player that always like to be around. There is not a match that Micheletto plays that doesn't show his potential, and this is very, very special. Of course, in the lose yesterday, he was the best player for Trentino. He was the only one who was putting the ball in the ground, despite the block of Sada Cruzeiro, which I think is nothing special. They have 2 very short one players, like Lopez, the Cuban, and Cachopa, the setter. The only tallest player, let's see, are the middle blocker with Isaac and Octavio. But again, the defensive game and the serve always was the same. Errors, mistakes, and you are playing with Cruzeiro. Okay, it's not a Serie A team, but they have the crowd. They had 4,200 people there to support them, and that's something with the current problem of the COVID, and it wasn't easy. For this match against LUBE, they will try to do the same thing they did when they beat LUBE in the Superliga, which is try to hammer with the serve. But again, this LUBE is not the same as the beginning of the season. Maybe if they target Marlon Jan, that could be a reliable option. If Marlon hasn't played too well in reception this tournament, but let's see if Blangini tries to put Kovar or Marquisio like he is doing when the reception of Jan is not so good sometimes. Saizet come back, but I don't think he will play Saizet for this match. This is a total different match. It's not a training one, I don't know what you think, Nicola.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think the Blangini will risk Zaitsev, but I also don't think he needs to risk Zaitsev. I mean, LUBE is in a kind of a shape that Trento has no chance to beat them, and it's not. I mean, I'm not playing low or because I don't know to prevent the delusion of a loss. I'm simply stating facts. I mean, the level right now the two teams is not comparable. Trento is having also physically a downgrade respect on the beginning of the season. We also said how bad the reception is. They're serving terribly, and it's not gonna change overnight like that. They're also tired. You talk about Kaczynski. And I totally agree with you. He should have had more rest. But on the other end, Trento had problems with Micheletto, had problems with Pinali. So Kaczynski didn't have the chance to rest. It was basically one of the only healthy players in the beginning, since the beginning of the season. So, I mean, it's a good experience for a team which is growing. And I don't know if it was worthy the journey to Brazil, changing from winter to summer, then back to winter. I hope that no one is going to be injured in the short period. And honestly, a Club World Championship without the European Championship, it's looked like more a friendly tournament.
It is
European Championship.
It is an exhibition tournament. For me, this tournament shouldn't happen more than one time, even 2 years. Nothing else, and try to sell it in a Polish city or an Italian one with maybe three teams of Italy, 3 teams from Russia, maybe 2 teams from Brazil, and just that, because Iran team, Argentina team, they are better leagues that you can choose from in the world. Of course, every professional good league in the world is in Europe. I'm afraid that's not gonna change for anything. But doing it every year after every year, I mean, come on. It was fun when Trentino was winning it, and not due to the fact that Trentino was your team, Nicola, but because it was a new tournament to be played, but it got more boring after the 3rd win of Trentino, and from that, all the year is the same. 2, maybe 3 teams are good, and the rest are just Cinderellas, So
back in those years, there were at least an Italian team, a Russian team, and a Polish team. In the tournament. Sada was stack of players, of very good players, so it was a little bit competitive. You also had the Puerto Rican team or the Japanese team, but I mean, it's a world championship, so
I think due to the fact that the tournament is held in Brazil, many teams doesn't want to go there.
Yeah, especially because many teams have complained about the organization in Brazil last time they played in Betim, or however they pronounce the name.
It's always in Betim. It's always
the name of the team. I mean, they say that the accommodation, the journey between the 2 gymnasium was terrible. So if you held a tournament like that, you need to put up the organization at the level. But since they moved it to Brazil back in 2014, maybe it was the first time held there, and they invited more South American teams. I've got nothing against South American teams, but as you said, the level is not the one we have there in Europe. And you watch it, as you say, you watch the final. If you win it, you're happy, but especially this year without Zaxa, who should have been there, I don't find it even entertaining to watch. I mean, honestly, I watched the highlights of the game. I haven't watched an entire game yet.
Yes, but for me, I don't know if you agree. The last good World Championship that we have was that Trentino won, with 2 teams from Russia, Sada Cruzeiro, of course, 2 teams from Italy, maybe.
LUBE and Trento.
2018 there was that, I believe.
Yes, in Poland,
2 Polish
of course,
team.
With Fakio, Zenit, Trento, LUBE,
Belhatov,
Resovia,
Belhatov, Resovia, and
Skra.
Sada Cruzeiro. Of course, and it was a good tournament, but after that, the Polish host decided not to bring it anymore.
Keep posting it and not winning it is also something that probably hurts them. So
maybe last year they had a good chance, but again, I still believe that Saxa won the Champions League because LUBE led them. So that golden set keeps coming into my mind, and it could have been changed the entire perspective of that Champions League. But of course, history is history. We don't like Club World Championship. That's a statement from this podcast.
Yes.
And
think the same too.
Where are the favorites? LUBE to win it all versus Cruzeiro.
Oh.
Maybe LUBE can drop a set, but I don't think they will go to a tie break. Maybe Cruzeiro has the only hope in the crowd. Maybe the crowd will help them to achieve that. But
and maybe the video check will work the same way it worked back in Rio 2016, One
thing that I was asking to you guys What do you think about the new rules that FIA are implementing? One technical time at 12, only one time per team. The technical time have a duration of 1 minute. The team requested by the coach is only 30 seconds. And now the teams are behind the first coach, the first referee. And it's like a displaying of the NBA teams. They have the bench. They are not staying anymore in an area far from the game, from the court, and that's something that interesting. Let's say in that way.
Yeah.
They keep the two challenge, and of course, after 1 point, they have 50 seconds to release the serve. I don't know what's going on with this rule, but yes, it's something new.
Yeah, it's something new. Actually, I wasn't acquainted with that change, but because I haven't watched mostly due to the time difference any matches so far. I just watched a very short period of time from the match between LUBE and the Brazilian team Natal. But probably they're going to implement only one timeout due to the fact that the two challenges are used as timeout. So this is not a big of a surprise.
Well, I think you lose more time arguing with the referees that in a time where of course when the play is controversial. Like I saw the Taranto Cisterna the other day. And Taranto, of course. Don't do that because there are people watching this show. Well, the Taranto team, yes, and at the end of the second set, people were crazy, because the second set, not third set, and it was like 15 minutes of break because of a bad call of the referee. And then you have to watch it again in the video check, and you will always lose time for any reason. Maybe because you want to call the server, or who knows.
Okay.
Anything else? Nothing else?
I don't think so. We can end with that. Thank you for watching or for listening. I believe that was a very fruitful discussion. Covering not only the Italian league, but also the VNL scores for the next year, and also Club Pro Championship that is played in Brazil just now. So thank you again for watching or listening, and I hope that you're going to do it also the next time. Bye.
Bye. Take care.